Om Shri Shankaraaya Namaha. Yes, my dear child.
Shankaram Shankaracharyam Sashvatam Shaktamanasam Shiva Agama Shikshaka Shreshtam Shiva Bijam Shivatmajam.
Yes,
Amma நம்ம 30 முகூர்த்தம்ஸ் பற்றி பார்த்தோம்ல, அந்த பேட் டைம் குட் டைமுக்கு பின்னாடி இருக்கிற கான்செப்ட் என்னன்னா, இந்த ஹோல் காஸ்மாஸில் என்ன சேஞ்ச் ஆகுது, ஸோ தட் அது நமக்கு நம்ம பண்ணுற விஷயம் சில டைமில் சில விஷயங்கள் பண்ணக்கூடாது, எந்த எனர்ஜி சேஞ்ச் ஆகுது, ஆட்டம்ஸில் என்ன சேஞ்ச் ஆகுது.
Atmosphere. You want a scientific side of it.
Yes, and then another follow-up question என்னன்னா, அந்த பேட் டைமில் சப்போஸ் நம்ம ஏதாவது ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணோம்னா அதை எப்படி நம்ம கிளென்ஸ் பண்ணிக்கிறது, குட் நமக்கு வர மாதிரி எப்படி பண்ணிக்கிறது?
Beautiful questions. Beautiful question, my dear child. Sit down. We have already done the satsangam somewhere, somehow, about the 30 muhurtams. We do know that there is Rudra, just for registry, Rudra, Ahi, Mitra, Pitru, Vasu, Varaha, Vishwadeva, Vidhi, Shatamukhi, Puruhuta, Vahini, Naktanakara, Varuna, Aryama, Bhaga, Girisha, Ajapada, Ahirbudnya, Pushya, Ashwini, Yama, Agni, Vidatrur, Kanda, Aditi, Jiva, Vishnu, Dhyaumat, Ghatya, Uti or Dhyau, and Brahma, and the last being Samudra Muhurtas. We know these are the Muhurtas. We have done intense some registry somewhere about the Muhurtas. I think it was an entire session. And we have seen what are the good, bad, evil and very good Muhurtas. We have seen 4 of them. Good, very good, bad, very bad. Now, what is changing in the atmosphere around us during that Muhurtas is, we are not different, we are a microcosm of the macrocosm we are living in. The ever expanding galaxies or our ever expanding intellect, isn't it? Our ever growing body that accumulates everything is the earth. Isn't that what it is doing? So we are everything in us. We are nothing but a microcosmic representation and a reflection of the macrocosm that is everywhere around. And as humans, we can only reflect Panchabhutas. We cannot reflect other concepts which are not there on earth. This is just Bhulokam. Bhur, Bhuvar, Suvar. There are so many 7 lokas are there until Satyalokam. We cannot reflect other concepts which we do not have on earth realm. In Bhulokam, we have got Panchabhutas. These Panchabhutas constitute our body. Anything to do with the universe associated to these 5 concepts alone, we become a microcosmic reflection of the universe. When we go to Satyalokam, we perfectly reflect the universe. That is a Mukta. Because a Mukta has reached Satyalokam. One has to travel from here through lokas, or they can fall into talas and then completely lose even these Panchabhutas and have less and lesser concepts when they get to Patala. Now we are humans. We are in earth. We are controlled by these 30 muhurtas. And how we are controlled is, Rudra Muhurtam means, the one Rudra got His Highness's name because His Highness cried so loudly when His Highness was born. So loudly when His Highness was born that scream scared dimension. It was not a shout or a scream, it was a howl. Because Rudra was born from Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva's entire Rudratvam came into Rudra. And this birth is the predecessor of Dakshayagna Vinashanam. After that came Rudra. And when Rudra arrived, the scream was so high that entire dimensions and existence started trembling. And that was a howl. In that howling of Rudra, the name Howler was given. You are so loud, you are a howler. And that howling, highest possible howl, which causes a deafening silence, that is the meaning of Rudra. Rudra Muhurtam is not so good because the universal concept of our apas, which is apas and I'll say it in English. The universal, because then I'll have to explain, so it's a lengthier answer. So the universal concept of water and wind, these two Panchabhutas are controlled by Rudra. The combination of these two are Rudra. That is why tornadoes are Rudra. Thunderstorms are Rudra. They are Rudra because these two concepts are controlled by Rudra. And these two concepts put together and controlling themselves in the universe, wherever it happens, is called Rudra. The concept is called Rudra. It is not a human, it is not a form, it is not a god. It is a concept. And the concept is so higher than all the forms, all the imaginations we can ever have. It is higher than every perception we can ever have with this limited perception of our human brain. That is why enlightened beings find it very hard to communicate a concept, because the concept can be communicated only when they're limited to the size of a human brain. So it becomes very, very hard. But understand that the concept is higher than our understanding, because Lord is beyond perception. You cannot perceive Lord with something so limited as a human brain. Not even a realized mukta and an enlightened being who is a mukta can perceive the entirety of Lord until they shed the human body. Then they are Lord and they become the entirety. Until then they can only process as much as that Guru Margam on their Sahasrara reveals. And the God is even limitless than that. So understanding that, if for Rudra Muhurtam, I already told you the two elements that are controlled. In Sarpa Muhurtam, for example, the next serpent, the Ahi Muhurtam is a serpentine Muhurtam. That controls all the DNA level of activations and deactivations, because Sarpas are considered to be these wave formats. Even Nadam, which is sound and light or wave formats, anything in wave formats is controlled by Sarpas, scientifically. So if you notice, every concept like that has its own controlling mechanism. So I've just given the first two for you. So now you would understand how the control is happening is that concept, that in Rudra Muhurtam, that concept is hyperactive. In Ahi Muhurtam, serpentine concept is hyperactive. So if somebody has got something that should not activate in their DNA, and they're doing something in that serpentine Ahi Muhurtam, if it activates, the entire life goes waste, isn't it? Some quality of an ancestor that should not activate. If that happens in that serpentine Muhurtam, the person's quality has changed from then on. And mostly that happens because of exposure to something they should not expose themselves to. The first time somebody takes a drug, that will change their life forever. The first time they meet a person who is going to badly influence their life, that changes their life forever. The very first time they do something they know is a mistake, but they cannot control because the impulse is too strong, and that changes the DNA forever. So in Ahi Muhurtam, we know what happens. In Rudra Muhurtam, likewise, it is wind and water. So our Swadhisthana Chakra and our Anahata Chakra are controlled. So any deviancies associated to our physicality in relation to understanding another's pure or impure form of love, any sexual acts, because Swadhisthana is associated to babies, and anything associated to your heart and your givingness and your reception from another, and your life force itself, because heart is a center of our kindness, our life force. If something changes there in Rudra Muhurtam, the person is changed forever. So which means the concepts are too big. If at all I have to talk about all the 30 Muhurtam, even these two, the serpentine and the Rudra Muhurtams and the Ahi Muhurtams, I have only scraped the surface of it. Near about 6 of the Maha Upanishadams, out of the 18 of the great Upanishads, 6 of them talk only about Rudra Muhurtam, immensely. And the serpentine Ahi Muhurtam, we only have part of Atharva Veda. In the part that we have retrieved on this earth, out of that 50% talks about this Ahi Muhurtam. So asking somebody like me to explain just means you're asking something like this. I know that I cannot understand this concept, but please remove the first, scrape it open so that I can understand. So for the next Janmas or any other beings that I have a chance to question, I do understand and collect these Paramasatyams. That is what you're asking. We have scraped the surface of Rudra and Ahi Muhurtams and understand the depth of it as well. It is not understanding of one or two concepts or entering into a nothingness that causes mukti. Mukti is knowing everything there ever was, is and will be in the concept of time from the beginning of time until time collapses. And all the Yuga Yugas, and comparing the Paramasatyams with many gurus over many janmas with their Satyams, meticulously collecting those dots and droplets of mukti. And by the grace of some final guru who has seen that the person has collected almost all of them except the ones that can be given only by a guru in the Sahasrara. Until one collects everything else up until Sahasrara, one does not get a guru who they can get a guru, but they won't get a guru who promises mukti, because then that is why out of this great eternal earth, there are very few like Narendra who became Vivekananda at the hands of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, because not every enlightened being can create another enlightened being, because the enlightened being might want to, but that disciple might not be ready to even if their Sahasrara is ready, they might not be ready to complete it, because the distraction in this world is too much for them. So it is that hard. To ask a question with this depth itself shows that you're not afraid of understanding that there is a long way to go, because mukti is such a long way to go. It is the unknowingness that one leads to the void that's called Vishunyam Ashunyam. One enters into that Shivatvam. Only after they have mastered everything, one has to become every concept, master it, shed it for Shiva. I've mastered it, I have got the Paramasatyam of it. Now I need release from this. So that is how one slowly yet steadily proves to many gurus over janmas to be seated in front of some enlightened being somewhere. So if you keep on asking questions, you will be blessed over janmas. You will be blessed to meet some enlightened being in physicality. If you keep on asking questions to that enlightened beings that you will meet over janmas in physicality, you will be blessed with a guru who will accept you. And if the gurus who accept you keep blessing you with answers, then you will be given a guru who will be an enlightened being. And if you do get an enlightened being who is your guru, then they will begin to train you into who has accepted, an enlightened being should have accepted you into Sishyatvam. So that kind of Sishyas, they will then train, and they will send them to only enlightened beings in janmas to come. So if at all you get an enlightened being as a guru, you might have had some in the previous janmas, or if it is your first janma, you will only go to enlightened beings as disciples from now on, unless and until you fall like Nahusha, and that is quite rare when you have an enlightened being as a guru. It's quite rare unless and until your HreemkaaraM is Parnan and you want to be an Asura. So that is impossible, but it has happened in history. So this question you have asked, what these concepts reflect in our immediate atmosphere, and that's what because they are higher concepts, they're reflecting in our body. How do we cleanse? Unless and until one has immense amount of information about every muhurtam, they can't cleanse, but they can avoid. Our greats, rishis and rishinis, are so kind to have given us the muhurtams. In the time like the Pannirade, even for them to tell us it's bad, it's good, it's very bad, it's very good. They know nothing is bad or good, everything is Shiva. But they are saying you are still a human. You might fall in this place. If you avoid this, you won't fall. If you avoid this, you won't fall. Try to avoid this. Even if you have to go and write an exam in a wrong muhurtam, you can still keep this here. Excuse me. You can still take your exam writing pen and pad or whatever you take for exams, your hall ticket and stuff like that, and you can put them away in the nice muhurtam the previous day or that same day. So you have started the process in a good muhurtam, correct? So they have given this Not to scare you that, oh my God, it's a bad muhurtam, you can't go to school now or university now, or you can't start to a job now. That's not what they're doing. They are giving you, there are good times. Previous day irukka, annaikku irukka. So find out a good muhurtam, initiate that process on that day, on that muhurtam. So keep it away. And once you've started it, you've started the process. Even if you're preparing for your exams, what stops you from starting preparing on a good muhurtam and continue preparing over other muhurtams? It doesn't matter. It is the beginning of every act that matters. Even taking medications, if you have to take it at a time when the muhurtam is very bad on a daily basis, you can put it away at a good muhurtam. You can put all your medicines for the whole month in one good muhurtam in a pot. And then the whole month, every time you take, it is only in that good muhurtam. God is so gracious. God is not trying to tell you there is so much to learn. You will fall everywhere. Be careful. It's a long way to go. That is not what Lord is relaying. Lord is relaying something totally different. I know it is a long way to go. I know you have to learn lots. But I will give you so many glorious tricks and tips through which you can benefit and not fall in places. As much as you want Lord, Lord wants you. The thirst you have for Lord is nothing. The thirst Lord has for us is great. The thirst Lord has for you is greater than what the thirst you have for Lord. So all that muhurtams, that is what they do. Ange namaskaram pani tanga ukandukoma. Shankaraya namaha. So now, any further questions on that or clear? Sort of clear? One more question? Yes. Take this so that her question can be audible. Welcome, children.
That serpentine muhurtamla DNA change பண்ணலாம்னு சொன்னா it's a bad muhurta, but and the concept வச்சு நம்ம good பண்ண முடியுமா?
Yeah, good question. And I would not expect anything different from a hyper intelligent child like you who is looking for IAS, IPS and stuff like that in India. Yes. In Rudra Muhurtam, great homas can be done by great dikshitas for cleansing greater evil in politics. In Ahi Muhurtam, great prayers can be done. Not only prayers, great cleansing rituals can be done by those initiated in the Jiva Nadis of the world for cleansing humanity of the sin and hence diseases to go away. Not for one, but for Loka Kalyanam. All the bad muhurtas can be handled only by those who have been initiated to handle that section, and they will be used only for Loka Kalyanam, which is the good for the greatest of the humanity and for the world, and never for singularity. And those kind of initiations do not come to one unless and until one is very highly evolved enough for grades to invite one for being activated into that muhurtams. And that is quite a rarity, because even in the entire concept of time, only very few thousands are initiated like that for Loka Kalyanam. Lord needs Lord has lot of testing before that initiation happens. If for example, Sri Narada Mahamuni had received an initiation from His Highness's grandfather, our Mahavishnu, for, write down this muhurta, for Vidhi Muhurta, which is the 8th, which is the insight. And except Mondays and Fridays, that is auspicious. And so this Monday and Friday, Gandharvam is slightly weakened. And we can understand 8th Muhurta, Vidhi meaning learning messages, insight meaning all the internal reflections, and that is being gifted to Narada Maharishi. Something like that. So likewise, it is used for greater good. Nothing else. So now, let us finish this session with Shankaracharya. Let us chant Shankaracharya. Om शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं शाश्वतं शक्तमानसं शिव आगमशिक्षकश्रेष्ठं शिवबीजं शिवात्मजम्